I definitely do a lot more underwaters, and Todd's big into doing a lot of resisted underwaters, which I had not done before. So we do full 25s with like socks or parachutes.
Welcome to Social Kick. We got the full crew. I'm Brian Lundquist. We got Dr. John Mullen, Luke Paddington, still not doing any pull-ups on that pull-up bar. And we got Claire Curzan headed in to ACCs. What's going on, Claire? How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm really excited. We leave Monday, so it's really coming out of the wire.
Yeah, totally. Well, I guess you would have been at ACCs anyway this year, regardless of where you were. But Claire, we always start with asking our audience at Social Kick Swim for some questions for our guests. And so we had a bunch for you, of course. And this is going to be kind of random mixed bag here. But first one is from Sagal Swims, wants to know already, what's your favorite memory from being at UVA?
Last year we did a practice where we had to do 450s all out from the blocks, and it was IM order. And it was like whoever had the fastest 200 IM add up was like the winner or something. But it was just like a really fun, like different practice. And I also don't do a lot of breaststrokes, so it was fun to do a 50 breaststroke and see how fast I could go. And it was just also nice because like we didn't really swim that much, so it was mostly just us talking to each other and talking to the coaches, and they were getting rowdy, and it was really just an exciting practice, and we had a lot of fun.
Now I want to know what everybody can go in that broken 200 IM. That's like a pretty crazy group to be doing broken 200 IMs with.
The times were pretty ridiculous. I know they're posted somewhere because they came out with the whole like results list, but stroke was my weakest leg for sure.
Yeah. How do you feel about the dolphin kick on breaststroke? Is that cheating, or if you're not a non-breaststroker, is that totally cool?
In the pullout?
Well, no, not the dolphin kick in the pullout, like the whole way. Like if you're doing practice and you're not a breaststroker, can you just dolphin kick instead of breaststroke kick?
I mean, I do that during practice anyways so I can make intervals, but
there you go. Confirmed.
Pretty illegal.
Well, I know it's pretty illegal. Actually, I've actually gotten out of, we did some like whatever, not an exhibition meet, but some meet where you just swim an off event. It's on a Friday afternoon in the middle of the season to get a time. And I remember doing the 200 IM once when I was in college, and then I got out and like, obviously I knew I did dolphin kick, and like the official comes up to me to say something, and he like looks at me and he's like, dolphin kicking. And I was like, yeah, you can DQ me. Like, I got it. It's like, it's not news. Like, yeah, I was in lane 4. That's it. That was me.
That's actually one of my biggest fears, because I do it like so much that I'm like, I think if I actually did swim breaststroke now, I would like accidentally mess something up.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Non-breaststrokers unite, the multitude of us that there are in the world. Yeah. All right. Sounds like you've been doing some clinics. This Ben, the Korean, wants to know, will you come to my club to do a clinic?
It depends on the timing. We're pretty busy with UVA right now with school and also just the college season. So I think maybe when stuff winds down, I'll do more, but we'll see. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Will Skinner 11 wants to know, what's the most likely super suit record to get broken next? And how many are left?
I was just about to ask that.
Honestly, I don't know. John, do you know how many are left at this point? I feel like it's not that many.
Because I know Bobby just broke, wasn't the mile one the super suit one? I feel like that
was 2 free, 4 free is left.
No. Women's 2 free?
Women's 2 fly.
I don't think women's 2 fly will get broken for a really long time.
That 201. Try 201. God, I can't even fathom it still. What else is there? I
feel like 2 free, 4 free. I thought Katie had the 4 free.
Oh, those are men. Sorry, beater men. On the men's side,
maybe I would like to see a men's 200 go down. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, take the men's stuff down. Let's leave the women's ones out there. No, I don't know. That 200 fly for women is absolutely insane.
That's ridiculous, frankly.
I mean, so in the 2000s, the big innovation was the suits, right? That all the times dropped, we know that well. And since I stopped swimming, the big innovation It's the fifth stroke underwaters, and that's a big reason why all the show course meet world records of dropping like crazy. Do you think the super suit revolution is as game changing as the underwater kick revolution, especially the show course pool, or it's still more super suit weighted, guys? And this question for all of us. What do you think?
I think both of them really affected like long course and short course respectively. Mm-hmm. I honestly think Dolphin Kick is doing a lot of like behind the scenes work, because I know when you train underwaters, you train a lot of breath control and you train a lot of just like strength. And so, I mean, if you're a flyer or like a freestyler, like it helps underwaters. And if you're a backstroker, it helps underwaters. But like for fly also, like then you have a better breakout and like you can carry more speed. And then also like for butterfly, you're just like better at doing Dolphin Kick, which is arguably like half the stroke, if not more. So I feel like that definitely helps way more than we expect it would.
Brian, what do you think? Because you live super suit big time.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the 100 backstroke, I'll just use that example because I feel like that's the race where I would be underwater the most. Like in my era, nobody was going 15 on both walls on the 50 freestyle, for example, or if they did, it was like, rare to do it. We saw people do it, but it's not like universally adopted. There was like this. You could be faster on top of the water or you could be faster underwater. Now I feel like it's like everybody's like, no, you just need to get faster underwater. Like, and there's definitely been a mindset shift from what works best for the athlete to get better at doing this because it is the fastest way. I think that's kind of the shift for me. So, yeah.
The difference for me was a super suit can make me swim faster right now. Right now, I could put it on and swim faster. But if I do underwaters, I am probably going slower. Now,
Luke always looking for the easy way out. Always looking for the easy way out. Not anything to not train. Come on,
but one thing
is definitely way more revolutionary. Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that, breath control work is always hard, but I'm always curious to hear about like how the ability to stay underwater for longer periods of time and workout has evolved, because we know that with repetition comes ability to do it in a race. You have to train to have the fitness, both, muscularly, to be able to like just, hold those kicks, as well as the breath control work. Those are two different things. Have you noticed a shift in your swimming career, which is still quite young, in like how much time you've spent underwater during workout, and like, are there any things that you do on a regular basis to like get into that, like physiological space, like breath warm-ups and stuff like that, to be able to do 15 meters off the wall for, multiple laps in a row for several hundreds in a row, whatever you're doing in workout?
I would say I'm definitely still finding the perfect balance with Todd. I think like Gretchen has been able to master that, which is also why she's been so good for so long and like continues to get better. But I think I definitely do a lot more underwaters, and Todd's big into doing a lot of resisted underwaters, which I had not done before. So we do full 25s with like socks or parachutes, or even in general, I used to pride myself because in club I was pretty good about just doing my underwater kick counts during practice, which is like, I would say that's pretty good for like a club swimmer and like discipline. But even so now, like Todd is like, you have to do these, like even on a 200 backstroke practice, if you're doing like hundreds or 200s or like 75s, even just like, you have to be hitting that kick count. Like you can't stray from that. And that helps you like because it's kind of scary when you're having to do that much. And like, you're just like, I know I'm going to basically be waterboarded for the next however long, but
right. Guys, who were we just talking to about this? We just had somebody on who was bringing this up, like the traumatic experience of being underwater doing like resisted stuff. I don't know. I can't remember who it is, but it's definitely a thing.
Yeah, and I feel bad for the freshmen every year, because even this year, like Todd's like, okay, let's do 25 underwater with socks. And they're like, what? Yeah, it's okay. You got it. But also I've seen a lot more like practicing underwaters and like warming up my breath control like for warm up before races, which I hadn't done before. But like I'll still use socks a little bit and warm up and do like a couple 25s underwater just to like practice. And like, because I think there is a hump, and like once you get over that hump, then it's like better.
Interesting. What were you gonna say, Luke?
I was gonna say back to breath control. I remember a set that you guys did at Auburn, Brian, back in the heyday there, and it was like 825s all out, not at any time, but on a number of breaths at the wall. So you touch the wall, and you're allowed to take 2 breaths, and then you can go. And so it's not, and that was it. That was your rest interval. So that control, bring your heart rate down, take 2 big breaths, and you go again. And that's how they work on breath control. Claire, do you guys do any sets like that focuses on improving your breath control and training your body to bring your heart rate down and maximizing oxygen, except anything like that you guys do?
I don't know if Todd ever explicitly says that's what it's for, but we will do the 25s resisted on short rest. And that's always pretty difficult. That sounds more like what you're describing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the big, transition with dolphin kicks is, like you said, Claire, kids doing underwater as a club swimmer. So you're like developing the skill while you're still more, learning more skills or acquiring skills a little quicker. So when we swam, we didn't work on it as age groupers at all. So you're already getting to college with like an ability to go underwater to certain distances and with the ability to be uncomfortable. Now we're starting to see that next phase where it's like, hey, let's do it resisted, or let's do mechanisms to get there even faster over and over. Where a lot of underwater and breathwork stuff we did, at least I remember doing, was slow. Just like, hey, let's hold our breath as long as we can for a 75 and things like that, where it's like, okay, maybe that doesn't really apply. We need to just worry about 10 seconds underwater, holding your breath as fast as you can on over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So, like you said, some 25s underwater. Any other dolphin kick sets you guys are doing that, you think have really helped out, or you're noticing that change?
Like going back to the socks, because I think it's Todd's favorite equipment to use, but like they'll also
thanks Todd.
Yeah, I know, he said socks were like, oh. He'll have us do a lot of like bursts or like 50s in kick count, so you're still practicing that. And then also he's really big into kick sets, so we'll have like big kick Tuesdays, and so normally we'll do freestyle kick, but then sometimes he'll have me just go fly. So it's like you're doing a 50 fly kick on a board with socks, which I think is good because feels like strength training instead of like breath control. But I think it still helps because you're like practicing having fast underwaters or fast dolphin kick with resistance.
Why did you break that record a few weeks ago?
Why did you? Why
would you do
that? God, why would you break a record?
Here's my question.
Golly.
The 2 back record, it was in season. Were your legs really rested? Had you done a hard work and then lots of socks and your legs felt strong and you felt great coming off those last walls as you normally do? Like, what was it you think got you down to a PB and the fastest ever at that particular time in the season, given what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't really know because I was not feeling good. We had power clean max that Monday. So I was mad at Todd because I was like, why are we in the weight room on Monday? We were swimming this week. Wow. But I digress. He knows what he's doing, I guess. But then I think I like to think of myself as someone who gets better throughout the meet. And obviously I was feeling better throughout the meet because we weren't having to practice and we were just having to swim. So it was nice just having to do like a 50 or like 100 fly and 100 back. But also I think before for backstroke and at least my tuner backstroke, my race plan was always like going out like kind of strong, like easy speed, and then like building the second 50, and then like that back 75 is where you get on it. But then Todd had put Gretchen in the tuner backstroke, and I was like, oh no, this is scary. And so I was like, I know I'm going to have to go out fast because she goes out really, really fast. And so I went out with her, and I think that's what showing that like myself that I could do that and still bring it home, I think was important. And then also her taking me out that fast helped because I was able to finish fast. And so then Todd was like, yeah, see, I told you, like, you needed her. And I was like, yeah.
All right, couple weight room questions. First, what's your clean max?
Go. Shit. Sorry.
Don't worry, it's twice as much as Luke's. I guarantee that.
I think it's like 57 kilograms.
Okay, all right. Hey, we'll take it. All right.
Yeah.
And
I mean, cleans
you're
honestly kind of scare me because
Sure.
I get worried it'll like break my elbow.
Yeah, it's very technical. And hey, getting injured in the weight room is a big
Scary.
mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then too, I mean, most other sports will lift like, the week of an elite competition, maybe even a few days out, where swimming, as you kind of said, God, I lifted Monday of that week. How am I going to be, kind of surprise you to go best time? So are we going to be lifting leading up to the week of NCs and things like that?
ACCs, yes. And NCAAs, he said no. That will back off. I assume that will probably still be in the weight room, but it will be very, very like light, just doing maybe 2 exercises with like light squats, light bench press or whatever, just to keep the power there, but not to like weigh you down too much.
So before prelims of the 2 back, you're going to go find the gym, and then you're going to do a max power clean.
Yeah.
Because that's what I like that.
I'll bring some weights to women's NCs and bring them on deck. Maybe we'll see.
Hell yeah! Let's set up Curzan's clean tent outside the women's NCAAs. It's going to be great.
Good.
Step right up.
Yeah.
Curzan Clean Club. I think that sounds fun.
Yeah, maybe not the day of, but maybe the day before.
Yeah, maybe the day before. I don't know what it is actually. John, do you know physiologically why this happens? Because I know for sure, for me, that if I do pull-ups or some kind of, it's usually some like grip strength, forearm type of stuff. Even if it's swimming related, it could be doing cleans or, some kind of body motion, but it's either that afternoon or the next day for sure. I feel my feel for the water is so much better. Why?
Yeah, I think it's likely. I'm not actually 100% sure, but if I were to guess, it's because those muscles become a little bit more tense, right? So they're like already pre-engaged by the time you're grabbing water. So it's like you get in the water and they're already kind of firing a little, and obviously those are huge things. So you just like feel like you're grabbing more because it's more active, just naturally, because you just worked it out a little bit. Like you have that resting tension in it. So that'd be my guess why you have that going. Because if I were to guess, you're probably not actually going that much faster. Even though you feel like you are. It's like when you take gear off or things like that, you have that change of perception on what you're feeling, and you may not necessarily be going that much faster after you take off a chute, but you feel like you're like breaking world records every stroke because you're like, oh my God, I'm flying.
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm breaking world records, but I do go from feeling like a wet noodle to faster. That's for sure. What are you going to say, Luke?
No, as I say, that was my comment too. When you mentioned all this work of socks, and I always love when I took the socks off and I did a fast 25. I felt my feet were going crazy. Like, what am I doing? But it felt so nice.
Yeah, it always feels so good. The worst is when you have fins on, then you take those off, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So you're heading to ACCs. You're not fully resting, coming down. What's your plan for the next? Let's say what we have 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Next 4 weeks. What's your plan?
So we'll go to ACCs. Yeah. And then come back and kind of get right back to hard training. Todd said, and he'll keep us going like basically normal for 2.5 weeks, and then he'll probably back off of like our dry land schedule, but then lifting will probably go most of the way through until like it'll obviously come down, but not too much.
This may be kind of a weird question, but I feel like amongst the men's fields, if they're not resting or coming down for a meet, a lot of times the flex will be like, dudes just rock a beard at the meet or some kind of facial hair, and it's like a signal to the world that they're not. It's fine. Like we're just kind of swimming through it. Is there anything amongst the women's field that you can be like, oh, I'm not rested? Is there like a signal of some sort?
I would say there's not like a signal outwardly, but like most of the time you won't wear like a super new suit. You'll be like, oh,
okay.
Yeah. But not too much.
Yeah. What do you guys have for like traditions coming into the championship season? I mean, you're getting to experience this. And that's oftentimes the super fun part of like being on a college team, like just the camaraderie and the traditions and all that. Is there anything you haven't had a chance to partake in yet that you're looking forward to?
I feel like UVA does a really good job of modeling the traditions for like every meet, because every meet is an important event and you can still go super fast in them. So I think I've partake in a lot of traditions. Partaken in. But like we're gonna make posters on Sunday to like cheer each other on and like carry to ACCs to have, which will be fun. But then the captains always send out like the dress schedule, and they have like funny pictures of the girls on them that like make us smile. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is there anything the captains do or the coaches do to keep you guys like grounded, not too overconfident, or because you guys are gonna stomp at the NCs, and you know that, and it's 4P, but it's you've won it individually, but you haven't won a team title. Mm-hmm. You haven't been part of that, so you're hungry for that, obviously. But there are some in the team who've like, how do you keep that edge? How do you keep like giving it all, everything you have, and knocking those points down, yet still being humble and not bragging and just being your real authentic self that I find Virginia women are, pretty good people.
Todd's really good about just like talking about, he gives these kind of like speeches before and after meets of like what he wants to see and like how we should approach the meet. Yeah. And he is always under the impression that we should go in with like, not exactly an underdog mindset, but it's never good to go in like too confident. Cause like, you never know what's going to happen. Things can change like in a blink of an eye, especially in swimming when like places come down to hundredths of a second. So you can never like go in almost expecting anything, and you have to just solely focus on yourself, solely focus on supporting your teammates, and then the points will fall where they may. And like, you hope that it'll go in your favor, but you also don't know. So it's never like expecting an outcome, but it's doing everything you can to get that outcome kind of.
Yeah. I think it was yesterday it came out that Stanford might leave ACCs early, and obviously the people online were going crazy. They're like, oh my God, the conference meet, people are leaving early. This is a disgrace to the sport. So I guess what is Virginia's view of, ACCs and conferences? And I guess how does that impact you guys leading into NCs?
I mean, I personally haven't been at ACCs with UVA, but I know that the way they've been talking about it in the lead up and the way I've like kind of seen it in the past is that this is almost honestly probably the most fun meet of the year and of the college season, because UVA is a combined program, ACCs is a combined meet. So it's really fun to have like that many people packed into a pool. It's apparently going to get really loud, really rowdy. And it's nice to be together as a whole team, just because when you do go to like a solely women's meet, it's like kind of lonely sometimes. Like the boys do bring a certain level of excitement for sure. And I think ACCs also, NCAAs at least could probably bring a lot more pressure just because of the nature. It's like the last meet of the season, you want to do really well. But ACCs, I feel like it's a bit less pressure, and you probably have a bigger roster. And so it's just exciting. And like all you care about is like cheering each other on. The ACC is a really fun conference. I think the parents do a really good job of like cheering loud and like getting excited. And also we get these like ACC bags that the parents like get for us. And it's like all these cute like gear, and it's like, UVA does a good job of it. It's really cute, but like you get to wear all of that and like match and feel good, swim good, so I think it's just the atmosphere of ACCs that makes it really fun and really unique compared to NCAAs. Like it's just so loud apparently, and like super, super fun.
Yeah. It's an interesting, I don't want to say problem that Todd has, but a scenario that I'm sure a lot of coaches of stars, of teams of stars swimmers have. And you walk on deck by you guys, you're like, oh, Olympian medalist. You're just looking around like, oh shit, oh yeah. And he has this issue of like having to balance what's best for the athlete in terms of what they need to swim at NCAAs and what's best for the team to be able to swim. How involved are you in the conversation of what you personally might be swimming individually and then maybe on the relays? How's that decision made given the talent pool that you have and the coach experience that he has and his staff?
I mean, it's still definitely competitive. I mean, even for some of us, like you have to kind of earn your spot in the relays, but I think that's good. It keeps the playing field even. I think I don't envy Todd. I mean, that would be super, super hard because I know at least just for like me, Gretchen, like Alex, there's Anna Mosh as a freshman, Maxine Parker in his spring group. Like we all have different needs and like different ways he needs to talk to us. And so having to juggle that between a whole women's team and then a whole men's team is like have to be impossible. But I mean, he ultimately is always out there to help you. Yeah. And then however he can like also help you help the team will be ideal. And so I have been trying to take more of a backseat, more just like trusting the process, go with the flow, like not be so overstressed about swimming, which I think has been helping. And I've just kind of been letting him take the reins, which has been great. And so he'll just be like, you'll do this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, why? And he's like, these reasons. And I'm like, sounds great. I'll see you at the meet and I'll do those events. And so I'm always willing to help out the team. I have been enjoying swimming different events lately. I think the 200 free has been fun for me. And then doing backstroke on the relays is really fun for me. So, I mean, it's whatever you want. I'm sure he would be amenable to any requests you had. But also, yeah.
All right. Well, if you swam for a team that was the Claire Curzan University, you're the only swimmer at NCs. So you had full choice of what you wanted to swim. What would be, and you know the schedule, right? You know what the schedule NCs are.
Yeah, I do.
What would be your 3 events you would love to swim, if you had no idea of what the team needed?
I mean, that's a difficult question for me because sometimes the NCAA lineup like doesn't work out exactly for my events.
Nope.
Unfortunately. But I mean, I actually had a lot of fun swimming the 50 free at Texas. I think that would be fun. And then my backstroke training has been going really well lately. So probably both the backstrokes. I think that would be cool.
We love it. 50 free. Got to have a sprint event.
Yeah, I know. You got to balance out the 2 back.
Yeah, going to PB in season. I mean,
I know. That was exciting.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say your freestyle's been on lately. I guess what changes or what's clicking a little bit better for your freestyle over these last season?
As much as I hate to admit it, we've been doing a lot more aerobic. So even all of those practices I complained in, they probably did help.
Is that how you ended up in that 500 free?
Yeah, I was actually really. I know. That was interesting.
That's pretty good.
It's okay.
Well, Claire, get over there with Grimes. We're gonna do a mile set today.
No, I do. I always look at her practices, her and Kevin Gormsman. I'm like, I could never do that ever. So yeah, they can keep that.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Careful. How far you
I felt bad
veer.
because Amy Canny does the 200 freestyle. I'm top put her in the 1,000 and she did really well. And I was like, I can't. Like 500. I've actually never done an event longer than a 500. So
good.
Now's not the time to start.
That's awesome. Keep that streak alive.
I know.
As a swimmer now that's been to a lot of big meets, and obviously dual meets or quad meets are becoming more popular in season where the crowd's loud and all that. Now, NCs is going to be at Federal Way, which is not at a university. I'm kind of worried it won't be that loud as some of these dual meets. I mean, you've been to Pac-12s at Federal Way where it's not always that loud because it's a big, an auditorium just in the kind of middle of nowhere there. So I guess how much does crowd noise and all that impact, I think, performance? And how do you think NC environment's going to be with your experience being at Federal Way in the past?
I actually kind of have a different opinion than you because it was my first Pac-12s. I actually thought it was pretty cool, like how loud and rowdy it is. Especially because I had experience coming from Avery, which was Stanford's pool, and like they have a huge facility, like double bleachers. Yeah. So that one would be literally impossible to fill. And so Federal Way seemed a bit more quaint and like a bit more loud. But ultimately for me, I notice more of my parents when they like yell out to me and my teammates, and like that's kind of all I'm listening for. I don't really care about the other stuff. So I'm ambivalent to if a lot of people are there and it's packed, or if not a lot of people are there, as long as my parents and my teammates are there. So
that's awesome.
Fine. Yeah.
All right. So what do your parents yell?
My mom normally doesn't watch, so she turns around, and then my dad always is like, "Let's go, Claire Bear." So that's always.
How much do your parents know about swimming?
A lot. Well, I take it back. My dad knows a lot. My mom thinks she knows a lot, and she does know a lot. Sometimes it's a bit different because sometimes she wants to coach me, and I'm like, Mom, let's pedal it back.
Yeah.
What's an example of like feedback your mom would give you in coaching?
Sometimes she'll just say to go faster and like get out faster. Like, yes, that's the spirit. But also, I need a bit more specifics than that from Todd.
Go out faster, come home faster. Don't overthink
Yeah,
it.
it's simple. If only it was. Yeah.
Sweetheart, you're a Curzan. Go faster.
Yeah, you can do it.
My impression of your mom is with a lowering of voice and getting in your face. And I've never met your mom. I have no idea.
No, she's quite loud. She's from New York. She's a big family.
Are you going to have the hometown advantage here with everybody? I know it's like not hometown, but you know it's somewhat close. You got family coming out. I mean, the conference tickets are still hard to get. You know, they're allocated. So
yes, they're coming out. Not as much as normal because my mom's siblings used to live really close, and so 2 or 3 of my aunts would always come out, and that was fun. But they've moved away, and so it's still my mom and my dad, and then family friends will come. But that's my mom, dad, and my sister, which is just the important trio.
Yeah. Now, are they decked out in orange and navy now, or what are like the official school colors called? I don't even know.
It's probably orange and navy. My dad has a bunch of stuff because I've given him like Aerobic for Christmas because he loves that brand. But I think my sister has a shirt. I don't know about my mom, honestly. I might have to give her something to borrow, but they'll be supporting UVA.
It's fun because like I think it's always fun for the family too, because then they get to be a part of this club and team and like society that is all through you. And like were it not for you, they wouldn't be dressing up that way. And now they're getting to like do their outfits up, and I don't know. This whole thing. It's like if I don't know, when my parents were no longer in that club anymore, then I knew that they like missed out on it. You know, they're like, we're still following the college program because like it was just a fun friend group to be in. So I hope they like love this experience while they're in.
They do. My dad, I think he's come to every meet this year, and he has like best friends on the team. And I'm like, you're having a better time at these meets than I am. Like, well, that's not fair.
We need to meet him.
Yeah, it's like I joke that it's like his Super Bowl because he loves socializing. He loves socializing. He loves like team events. He loves swimming. So it's like the perfect amalgamation for him.
Claire, we had a conversation with Simone Manuel, and Simone was insightful about how she feels when she walks on deck. She walks up to the blocks now at her stage in her career, and her nerves and her insecurities that she deals with herself, even though she's had that history, right? We know. What's your mindset when you walk to the finals of the 200 back at NCs? You've just done a 146.0 at ACCs. You are the queen. You know, coming up there and people are looking at you, but what's your mindset to keep yourself locked in and deal with that? Because you've been in that position countless times, going back to Tokyo, you know what I mean? What's your mindset when you're on there just to keep yourself grounded? And what are you thinking right before you jump in?
Honestly, I think 200 back, for the example you gave, is kind of a unique event for me because it's almost one of the only events that I don't get super, super nervous for. I would say most of my nerves come from the back 100, and I'm like, oh no, it's going to hurt. And I'm like, wait, I have to, come on. Like, I've done this in practice. It's fine. So I think, honestly, I get a lot of strength from that event because I know I can recall countless times in practice where I've done crazy sets and like, it's been hard, but I've done really well. And so if anything, that's probably the event I get most excited for instead of nervous. Cause I'm like, I know this, like, backwards and forwards. Like this kind of is my jam. Like my backstroke's been feeling really good. And so it's more just excitement behind the blocks instead of nervousness. And then I think when I get in the water, it's always a bit stressful because you're just like waiting for the go. You just are antsy to get started. But then I think once you hear the beep, it's like completely fine.
What's a set that also gives you confidence in that 200 back that, you know, you'll be able to bring it home like you did at, in November and likely at NCs?
Honestly, yesterday. We just did. It wasn't like a strict 200 backstroke. Like I've done more 200 fake focus backstroke, but we did like a 300 backstroke fast, a 200 backstroke fast, and 100 backstroke fast with like other stuff in between. And I went really fast, and I was surprised. I actually surprised myself, and I was like, okay, if I can do a 300 backstroke fast, like this is fine.
Well, God, you're killing Luke. He wants to know what you're going, what the interval was, all that stuff. Come on. He's
and granted, all of these were on Todd's watch, so I don't know if the times are correct, but he had me at 258 for a 300, 152 for a 200, and then 51 for 100.
The rumors I always used to hear was that Bob Bowman had a selective watch. Depending on who he was getting times for. Does Bob have, or does Todd have a selective watch? Does he have a fast watch? Is it slow?
It's extremely fast. Actually, I've watched him now and I know why. It's because he doesn't start it sometimes until until our feet are at the flags. I'm like, what are you doing? But his is accurate when he wants it to be. It's just most of the time he doesn't want it to be accurate. But I mean, it's always nice if you don't look at the clocks, you don't know, like you think you're going really fast. So
yeah, I was about to ask if that was, on purpose or he just got lost in the moment or excited, but it sounds like that's clearly on purpose. So do you like having a fast watch for a coach, or?
It depends on the day and my mood.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll get mad at him because I'm like, I just saw an 8 and you called it like a 5. Like, what's going on? But I think it's honestly good because you feel good about yourself. And honestly, that's what you're going to be doing race pace. So like the faster you can get and like closer you can actually be to like accurate, the better. I don't know.
How good are you at predicting what you did? So you touch a wall after 100 back, and are you down to the 10th? Do you know how that felt, or are you pretty far off?
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
Did you do any visualization?
I'm supposed to. I try, but I don't have the patience.
Now, come on.
Oh gosh, no. I'm working on the patience for that. I think sometimes I have my own version of visualization where like I'll remember what everything looks like and feels like during a practice and be able to like recall that image before a race. And so that's comforting, but like visualization, I'm still like understanding the science behind it. I'm sure it's helpful, but to me, I'm still getting over that hump.
I'm not so sure you're sure.
I know. I'm a bit of a it's okay. Honestly, it probably would help. I could probably start, but.
Do you set goal times?
Go ahead, sorry.
No, do you set goal times?
Todd has me. I honestly, goal times are kind of lost to me though, because I literally forget what is fast for each season before I go into it. So like Todd's like, okay, what's your goal times for like long course? I'm like, I couldn't even tell you a fast 100 freestyle long course, like what that would be. But then he's always like, okay, no, like this is it. Okay, then I guess this. But I think I would say I set more reach times because I'm like, if I went this, that would be epic. And then maybe more like benchmarks, like this would be epic. This would be like hopefully what I would go. And this would be like, okay, we need to like alter something. But also I had set goal times and then I had reached that goal time in mid-season for the 200 backstroke. And I was like, okay, so what now?
Well, maybe you need to get better at goal setting.
No. Well, I think we both kind of surprised ourselves, me and Todd. I was like, I did not expect that. But.
I was wondering if you count your kicks, and right before you go to race, does Todd, bring up the play sheet and go, okay, I want 4 off that wall, 4 off that wall, 4 off that wall, or what's his note to you before you go to race? On terms of strategy, is
4
he
off each wall?
Kick count?
Good one, Luke.
Oh yeah, no, not 4.
4.
I've had
Luke
the
didn't
same.
do dolphin kicks. We know.
Yeah, that would be nice. But I've had the same kick count since I started doing the 200 backstroke, so like kind of in club. And so I know what I'm doing. I know that part of it, and I've done it so much now. Short course, I kind of like know the strategy too. So if I go up to Todd he'll either like remind me of the strategy, or he'll be like, make sure you clean up your breakouts. Or sometimes for my turns, I like turn over too fast. He's like, make sure your turns are like slow and controlled or something like that. So it's more just like minute stuff, because we do the work in practice and you just have to go out there and have muscle memory take over.
I like that. It's always interesting. And do you think he's like that for all athletes, or that's just a Claire Curzan Todd DeSobo relationship, and some athletes needing more that you noticed?
Honestly, probably some need less. I always need a lot of like, you got this, but I think he's fine-tuned it for like each individual person. I haven't like seen up close and personal like how he talks to other people, but yeah, I'm sure it's like different for everyone.
Give me an example when you disagreed with him and you proved yourself right. Was it, oh no, I don't think I should do this, and you're right. And how did that ever happen?
I don't know if that happens most of the time. It's mostly Todd's right and I'm not. Gosh.
It's like you're in a behavioral interview. This is prepping you for getting a job. Luke's putting you on the spot. You don't get to plead the fifth on this one.
Honestly, I can't think of an example, because I've been relatively good in just going with the flow.
That's good. Trust.
I haven't been talking back.
Yeah. Well, it's not about talking back. I think as much as just like, every coach athlete has a different sort of dynamic in their relationship. And, like sometimes it means there's a lot of two-way feedback. And I think maybe to the root of where your question might come from, Luke, is I could see someone who's, been successful at a young age at the world level, at a club level, and then now in like the third training environment that you've been in the last few years, for you to have very like specific expectations on what works for you, what needs you have, and it wouldn't, from the outside looking in, it wouldn't surprise me if it was more like two-way, you being very vocal and giving that feedback, but sometimes like. Part of being the athlete too is being coachable and buying into the program. So, it could manifest in different ways depending on who those two parties are. But, so yeah, I could see you kind of like having a sense of, what works for you. So has there been anything where you've kind of like, as you assimilated into the training environment there, I'm sure there was a lot of discussion beforehand about what it might look like, but has there been anything like kind of growing pains as you've kind of figured each other out?
I would say no growing pains. I would say just like figuring each other out. But actually I have thought about one example where I like to think that I'm right, but
get back to that.
I think I've done a better job this year of being cognizant of like what actually works for my body and like what makes me feel good and like what makes me tick, and having to like make that work with the UVA schedule. And so last year I had done 4-day lift, which I think it was great because I had not done a lot of like heavy lifting before, and even sometimes during college. So that was really like a running start to like actually getting strong and like having power that I could use in the pool. But I think for my just body type and also for like my recovery modalities, 4-day lift almost like was breaking me down too much. And so I felt like I couldn't train the way I wanted to in practice. And so one thing I said to Todd this year, I was like, Todd, like I want to start off with 3-day lift and we'll see if we want to maybe jump back up to 4. Cause I know he's a big fan for sprinters to do 4-day lifts. But I was like, I want to start with 3-day lifts and just like test it out and see how it goes. And that schedule has been working like much better for me. I feel like I'm able to train a lot faster, still like get the power and like strengthen from lift. And then I am someone, this is an unpopular opinion on the team, but I really enjoy dryland. It has like jump rope and like med ball stuff. And I like the way that it activates my body before I go train. I always feel like I have better practices after I go to dryland. So I've also gotten an extra day of that with not because I don't go to lift. So I think that schedule has worked really well for me. And Todd has been amenable to it. So that's been nice.
You're scaring me, Claire. You have more aerobic freestyle, less time in the weight room. All this stuff is leading towards the distance group.
No,
you know
gosh.
that, right?
Please no. I'm saying it's just for my tutor backstroke. That's it. That's my top end.
I was going to ask about the bigger plan that you and Todd may have had beyond NCAAs, and how do you guys deal with it? So 2024 was a tale of two tapes, let's say, for you. Best swimmer in the world, and then just happened to touch the wrong touch at trials a couple times. That was that's what it was down to. You got Singapore coming up, you got Worlds, you got NCs. When do you start thinking about that in the back of your head, or you just completely focus on NCs and then you deal with that on March, 27th, whatever it is, and go forward? Have you guys discussed your long-term international plan?
We have discussed it a little bit. I would say right now it's just all in for NCAAs, and especially like all in for relays, because I'm really excited to hopefully set some records like as a part of UVA. And then I think it's just kind of taking it one day at a time. Like we haven't trained long course in a little while, just like fully focused on short course and like getting as many reps in as we can. And so then I think once NCAAs is over, take some time off and then refocus.
And do it twice. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we were talking before, who in the world, another country, could beat the UVA women in a 400 medley relay? Of course, I don't know. It's pretty impressive relay.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky to have so many heavy hitters.
Is that time in mind that you guys listen? Yeah, records are meant to be broken. You want to set a record, but you want that record to stand for a while. And you want to be that 25 record that they set back 10 years ago. That's a legendary record. Have you guys thought about how records can be legendary? We think of like the 800 free record under a certain time and what have you. Is there one relay that you guys just want to stamp that record even more while you have this golden generation, which is continuing, honestly?
I don't know if there's like any single one that we're really excited about.
All of them.
I know that Todd's pretty excited about our 800 freestyle. I know that we have a lot of really fast girls on it this year. But then also obviously for the medleys, we have a really great lineup going into ACCs and NCAAs. So I don't think there's any time goals per se, but just as so much as going as fast as we can and like doing our best to try to bring the mark down as much as possible.
Yeah. So many great swimmers at UVA on the women's side. So when you're at a practice, what are some things going around you that other people from the outside may not realize or may not even understand how the behind the curtains is looking?
I would say it's just, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from like others who come in to the environment having not seen it before. It's just everyone trains really fast. And I think that's kind of shocking for people. Because in club, I would train pretty fast and I would be like, I would surprise myself. But then I think you just get on the whole deck for UVA and it's like a whole different world and like a whole different level of swimming. Because like people are nearly going like their best times in practice and you're like, that shouldn't happen. But it's just kind of like the nature, and granted it's also probably the fast watch, but it's also the excitement on the pool deck and like the way that we train, I think is kind of cool to watch from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah. What have been some of the bigger learnings for you? Because I'm curious to be a fly on the wall and would have loved to train in that environment. I think that's it seems to be like super intentional. I hated being broken down for the whole season, but that was kind of the era that I lived in was, get strong, focus on that, be beaten down, and then have a giant taper. But, now seeing, I think it's crazy to have like best times or near best times in practice. I've never understood that. But like, have there, I don't know. What are some of like the biggest things that you've learned in the process of the last, year of training?
That's a hard question. There's a lot of it. I would think I've just learned how to train better. And that's kind of a broad statement, but, at least at the beginning of the season, Todd kind of sat me down for one of our meetings and he was like, here's what I saw from last year that was really good. And here's what I think you could work on better. And one of the big things for me was just my aerobic freestyle. back to the distance allegations, but he was like, your aerobic freestyle is like not at the level at which you train backstroke and fly. So I would really love to see you push yourself more on that. And I was looking at him like he had 3 heads, because I was like, dude, like you put me next to Gretchen and Kate Douglas and Alex Walsh, and I'm like, they all got really good freestyles. And I was like, I don't think my freestyle is as good as them, because I literally get like mollywopped by them. But I think that's one thing I've seen throughout the year that's just gotten progressively better. And finally, Todd has admitted, like the other day, he was like, yeah, your aerobic freestyle is like loads better. Like, I'm really impressed by that. And so that was kind of a fun, like, oh, like, there we go. Like I was able to kind of alter that. Even when I didn't expect myself to be good at that, I could do it.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously showing. I mean, with the PB and the 200 free too. So, and we're like just going back through seeing, what your event lineup has looked like over the last several years, and wondering like, where did the 100 free go? Like, and with so much potential, and even you sitting here going, I don't even know what a good time is in the 100 free. Like, yeah, obviously a lot of freestyle pedigree. So I'm also picturing Todd in that room, not answering or not introducing that topic quite so delicately, and being like, Claire, your freestyle sucks. Okay. And yeah, growing pains. I mean, that's it's like the double-edged sword. It's fun when there are leaps that you can turn over and things that you can discover about ways that you can improve. It's maybe less fun to think about the path to get there, to get better at it. Yeah. Were there some like early moments that you're like, okay, we just said we need to get better at aerobic freestyle, and then you're like in your first aerobic freestyle set or group or something like that, and you're like, oh man, I don't know about this.
Oh, I think it's almost every practice. Well, Todd's favorite distance that we all joke about is he's been having us do so many 300s this year, and just like 300s fast too. And I'm like, dude, my upper end is a 200. And then one practice when we first started for short course, like really getting into the aerobic, we did a 400. I was looking at him like, what? I can't even count a 200 in practice, let alone 400. Like, what do you expect me to do? But we haven't had to do 400 since, thank God. We have had to do 350s, but thankfully I didn't have to count those. And then, I don't know, I've just gotten used to it, I suppose. 300s is still kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off, but it's been better.
Wait, what do you mean you didn't have to count the 350s?
There was like a guy next to me, and so he was ahead. And I was
okay.
Stop.
Because I agree, at 200, anything over 200, I'm lost. I can't count over that.
It's the 100 to the 150. I always lose count. I don't know why, but
I was going to ask. Don't forget you are Claire Curzan as well. You are one of the superstars on deck, and surely there's something you do that nobody can touch you in practice. Like it could be like, oh crap, there's Claire doing her thing. What is it in practice that there she is, and that's better than anybody else on that deck? It could be, I don't know. What is it you think you do that you crush every time?
Yeah. The thing that some other teammate is looking at you going, God damn it, I'm never going to be Claire at this.
I would say like any sustaining like backstroke pace on like short rest, like because I think sometimes I am close to the guys, and I train with Jake Shroom for tuner backstroke most of the time, and he'll always kind of heckle his boys. He'll be like, don't let Claire beat you. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I want to now. But I think it's fun because we push each other. But yeah, I would say that.
All right. So impress me. So what's that set? Is it 10 200s on 230 holding? What's that set, that short rest distance backstroke that you crush?
It would be the set that I'm thinking of is like just a bunch of 75s on like short rest, and so I'll hold like 40s.
Nice.
And so that's like decently close to the guys. But then also I think maybe for a bit of a longer rest event, like I'm pretty good at descending for backstroke. And so I think they all know, like when we do 200s descend, like it's okay. Make sure you're ahead of Claire for like this stuff. So.
How often are you pulling in that lane rope to get past Brian, who's next to you?
Oh, no. I used to a lot in club, but not anymore.
Okay.
I've graduated.
Graduated from it. Yeah. You're too old for that.
Yes.
Well,
right.
until you get older, then you get back there.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Then I can go back.
Yeah. Are you gonna swim after you retire from competitive swimming?
TBD. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like it would be fun. It's a good exercise, but I think I would try something else first. The summer I didn't make the team. I actually picked up running with my mom, and like I ran a half marathon. So
Cool.
maybe I'd try to like do one of those milestone events and like do a marathon or something. Just to like, say I did it and then never do it again. But yeah, something like that maybe.
That's the way I do it. I'm retired from endurance after going through Ironman and marathons, and now I'm like, okay, I think I'm good.
Oh my God, Ironman, I could never. Ironman is no.
One marathon here, done.
One marathon.
When did you go in that half marathon?
I forget. I don't know.
Or you just
Not
ran
3 times. You took your no half marathon times?
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Maybe a half marathon's less traumatizing, and you're gonna remember some times.
No.
All right. All right, we'll hit you with a few rapid fire, Claire. What if you could only keep 3 apps on your phone? All the rest get deleted. Which 3 apps are you keeping?
Messages, phone, and TikTok.
And TikTok. Okay. Who's your top follow on TikTok?
Oh. What does that mean?
I mean, it's like who's the one account that you watch the most?
Oh, I pride myself in not having a very diverse For You page. I don't follow anyone.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
That's how I know we're old. When we ask this, B, like people are like, huh? And it's like, I just go to my For You page, and that's just like, it just gives me what I want.
Yeah.
Somewhere where, things have changed, I think.
I feel like YouTube is
no.
if you follow someone. Yeah. TikTok is...
I think there's I think the whole like book talk craze is interesting. So if you just said like that in general is like a topic, like, oh yeah, I just love all like my book talk accounts that are giving me,
I do enjoy those because I'm into that. I like recommendations.
Yeah. I think there's still like creators that you can appreciate without,
I will watch a video and be like, that was well done, but I'm still follow
Goodbye.
Yeah, 3 seconds at a time. It's that 3-second life. All right. What's the most annoying thing a teammate can do?
Go really fast and warm up.
You want to call anybody out?
No.
Are nose clips cheating?
Nose clips?
Nose clips.
Oh, nose clips? No.
Okay. What's a number one, like a top saying or ism from Todd that you've picked up? What does he say a lot?
LFG, but like it's an acronym for a longer.
Oh, is it? I've never heard of it. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's go.
Wait, does he actually say LFG or does he say it all fully?
He types LFG in all of his messages, but then he'll say let's effing go.
I like that.
All right, there we go. What's the hardest set that you've ever done?
I don't know. Like probably the one where I had to do the 400. That one was pretty hard. It was like 3 100s, 2 200s, like 2 300s, 1 400, and then 1 300, 1 200, 1 100. But like you had to like be fast for a lot of them, and it was like short rest.
Okay, not fun. What's the best race you've ever seen live?
I would say Erica Sullivan's mile at Tokyo.
Wow, cool. Okay. We get a lot of mile answers.
Or Bobby Fink. Well, I didn't see that live, but Bobby Fink had a really cool mile.
That was a pretty cool mile. Yeah. All right. Even though we're not like dropping down too much here, how much social kick are we doing leading into ACCs?
Oh, we've been doing a lot lately, actually.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I know. It's so exciting. We'll do it in warm down sometimes, and
Nice.
then we'll do it in warm up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you very much social kicking in your next, lead into the ACCs, but also in the build back to NCAAs. It's the time of year for social kick, so let's be festive about it. Thank you so much, Claire. You're so much fun to talk to, as always. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. That's it for this episode. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming. We'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment and we'll see you next time.